Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. I promised you that I was going to get a specialist to help us unpack and debunk everything that have been said and questions that you need to be answered about Haiti. And today, in our Studio B, I have a guest with me, Peters Nyawanda, who has worked in peacekeeping mission outside this country, that is Sri Lanka. But I want us to get what he has done in the global stage first before we pick it up. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
You have worked in a couple of countries. What have you done in the global stage in peacekeeping?
I have worked in Sri Lanka as a civilian peacekeeper with an American organization called Nonviolent Peace Force in Sri Lanka. I was a program coordinator for the eastern area of Sri Lanka where there was active conflict over the years.
Non-violent.
Non-violent peace force.
You will tell me about that. The other area?
I have also worked as an emergency program manager with Christian Aid UK in Sri Lanka, responding to the 2004 tsunami that hit Southeast Asia. So I was there as an emergency program manager, coordinating the issues of humanitarian assistance, relief, and also in development.
Wow. That means that then you are so much acquainted with what happens, especially in missions, peacekeeping missions. But before that, can you help me separate between civilian peacekeeping, non-violent, and because I've seen the word non-violent, I'm thinking there should be an opposite.
Yes, yes. The difference actually is that non-violent peacekeeping means that you do not use any weapons. What you use is your community connections and acceptance from the general population that allows you the leverage to be able to intercede in areas where there is conflict, both conflict at the local level and also conflict at the national level. So people will accept you because, number one, you are not aligned to any of the parties to the conflict, and that your mission is actually focusing on the general population, on how you can mitigate the effects of conflict, especially active conflict, on the general population.
So that brings us to the Haiti debate. This is a debate that has been equally very emotive, but it has the required traction from Kenyans. So today, I want us to try to get some very important answers to questions that Kenyans have been asking, and especially even members of this podcast. But before that, there is a soundbite. I want us to hear what the leaders have been saying. Before that soundbite, I need to remind you about our October. We are taking Edwin Mwiti to Kirinyaga University on Friday, and we've been running 100 shillings fundraiser challenge to raise the funds for that. The budget was around 100,000, and we are now doing 67. Yes, we are now doing 67. And I want to ask us to continue supporting those who can also support in kind. That is really welcome. Now, at this point, let's listen to what some other leaders have spoken about this.
President Ruto of Kenya, I thank him for his willingness to serve as the lead nation of a UN-backed security support mission. I call on the Security Council to authorize this mission now. The people of Haiti cannot wait much longer.
Thank you for letting me tell you. So I'm from Dominican Republic. I've been in Haiti a few times. I'm a former sniper. I was still in the reserve army back there. This is for people in Kenya, for the Kenyan soldiers. It's not good. It's not smart. Get there to fight for people, which is not your people. You don't know the terrain. You don't know the soldiers. Those people got nothing to lose. They got shitty serve barbecue. Well, he said he got 20 armed people, 20,000 people, but I think it's way more. We went in Dominican Republic, for example, in Haiti, back in 2010 with the handshake, and these people got nothing to lose. They don't fighting for nothing. This is not your people. This is not your war. This is not even your same continent. You're going from your place through somebody else's place, a place that you don't know the language. and these people got zero tolerance with outsiders. I advise you to don't get there, don't fight this fight. You will die for absolutely no reason. You will lose your family, you will lose your kid. This is you got no way to win. Don't get there.
And as the co-panel indicated, where are these guns coming from? They're coming from the United States. So we have to address the root cause of the issue.
Okay.
Kenya is to succeed in supporting the patient.
I commend the Security Council for making this moment possible and expend special appreciation to the United States and Ecuador for their consultative, inclusive, and focused endeavor, which has proved critical to this outcome. I also take this opportunity to extend a warm thank you to our African compatriots in the Security Council, Gabon.
Haiti looked around and said, Kenya, please help us. They did as many other countries, they came to Kenya. They said, Kenya, you have a history of helping other nations. Kenya, you are very good at doing it. Kenya, you are brothers and sisters. Kenya, we are dying here, we are suffering, tumefika mwisho, please help us. So we got a request from our people of Haiti. And as good Christians and good Muslims and good religious people, we could not turn and look the other way when our brothers who are suffering have asked us for help.
But if you want me to share, the venue will not even be Parliament. The venue will be the defense headquarters, because even the room where we want to share, we must take charge of that room. So I will invite you, using the standing orders, to come to defense headquarters. You'll be ushered in, and the generals will share with you some of the privileged data.
Now, that is, different leaders have spoken about it, and I think it has thrown Kenyan into spin. But let's start with the first question that Kenyans really wonder. Why us? Why Kenya?
Thank you. I think it is, that's a pertinent question that everybody needs to really ask. Why Kenya? It is not easy for me to say, like, why us? Because for now, Haiti is not our neighbor.
Yes.
2, Haiti is a country with which we do not have a lot of interest in terms of business. We don't share culture. We have everything that is different. So is Kenya the right place to start and say, maybe they have asked us, as Minister Mutua said, that they have asked us for help. You find that Kenya has been to different missions, peacekeeping missions around the world. And these peacekeeping missions have been UN peacekeeping missions. And there's a difference between that one and what we are going into now.
Yes.
This is a UN sanctioned.
What is the difference? People need to know.
When you say it is a UN mission, actually it has the backing of the UN and the leadership and the funding of the UN. What we are going into is something that the UN agrees with that we should be able to do. So they have given us a go-ahead to do it. But we are not doing it as a UN. Like you have other peacekeeping missions in DRC, which are UN missions. So there is a difference. And the Kenya and Haiti do not even have significant business relationships. That you can say, Kenya, the insecurity in Haiti is having a negative impact on our economy, on our security, safety and security. We do not share anything with Haiti that actually qualifies us to say that we should be in Haiti.
That makes me remember the reason in 2010 when we were getting to Somalia, it was after sporadic attacks at the coast where there were quite a number of cases of Al-Shabaab attacks in the coast. Then the government said, look here, we need to sort out what's happening in Somalia because we are also getting affected.
Yes. Somalia was a different case and remains different because you look at Somali, you find that we share a border with Somali. That is one. 2, we have Somalis, and we have also Kenyan Somalis. They are the same people. You know, they share the same language, same culture. Yeah? And again, we were directly attacked by Al-Shabaab. Yeah? You remember in Lamu, they came and even kidnapped some of the tourists that were in our country. So you find that our own survival was at stake. Yeah? Our own economy was at stake. Our own security and the security and safety of our people was at stake. That is not the same case with Haiti.
But then, despite of the fact that we cannot really directly correlate with what's happening there, we have offered diplomatic generosity to this country. And experts are trying to now unravel, explain it in this way. We are going there while even locally here, we are struggling with our own security problems. Like the bandits are really, still it's a bigger problem in the Kenyan north. In terms of this diplomatic generosity, does it disturb you that we are getting out while even ourselves we are not yet comfortable?
Nabuguza sisi hata watoto yangu mnaenda Gafuru kwa Pokot. Hata mimi na Gafuru kwa kijana yangu na iko mstone kwa sababu Pokot amekuliwa kwa Chepkok. Sasa arjai watu nakuba mnachinja kama mbuzi. Pokot tunachinja mimi nachinja sisi kama mbuzi. Kweli. Hata subuhi unapeleka huko jana napeleka mbili Babarnet. Wapi Ruto William Ruto? Wapi William Ruto? Wapi Kindiki? Wapi Muntiki? Yani mnataka operation. Serikali nataka operation kila siku lakini hakuna operation. Ni operation watu ya Pokot waliwa dukan. Iko wapi? Mono.
Actually, it does disturb me because, excuse me, we have ongoing operations in Baringo, in Turkana, in Pokot, and other areas of other parts of Kenya. And you find that I think for the last 4 months or so, we have even had curfews in those areas. And we have sent in security forces, sent in our military to go and support the police. The results that we are getting so far are not convincing. We still have attacks. We still have people living in displacement camps. And we have schools that are still closed up to now. And we have not been able to manage our own security. So it disturbs me that us who have not been able to effectively manage our own insecurity, and bring it, lower it to levels that are normal, can now really purport to be going to Haiti to bring peace while ourselves in our own country.
But the government will argue that those were training grounds, that it has we've gotten some experience even locally. That's what they say.
Experience? Not really. If we have gotten the experience, then we should have won those battles, and then we can now say the experience that we gained when we fought the bandits in Turkana is some of the things that we are going to use there. But we must also understand that actually that Haiti is not Turkana. Turkana is in Kenya. We know the terrain, and we are still we get outsmarted by the bandits in our own country where we know the terrain. What will happen when we go to a foreign country? We don't even know its geography. We don't even know the culture. Language is a big challenge. How will we manage? And again, we must also look at the Kenyan police. What is our own record in terms of managing even violent crimes? We have had Mungiki in Kenya.
We neutralized Mungiki.
How did we do it? That's the question. The question is not whether we did it or not, but also how did we do it? There were several human rights violations that actually accompanied the fight with Mungiki. And many people lost their lives. Some of them innocent people. And again, even nobody was arrested and taken to court. So people were not even given an opportunity
to know,
to prove whether they were actually part of the Mungiki outfit or not. So people are just summarily executed.
So, U.S., you noted that United Nations Security Council approved it as, just like you said, it's not their mission, they're just sanctioning it. So, the voting was done. China and Russia abstained from the vote.
Yes.
I don't know why. In a minute, do you know why? They decided not, out of 15, they decided not to vote.
I think one of them is, their geopolitics. Russia and China seem to be patching together. Seems to be patching together. And this one was actually the draft was the Security Council resolution was drafted by the U.S. So obviously, for that reason, they may not have supported it. And you must also remember that the U.S. and Russia are currently embroiled in another war in Ukraine, some kind of war in Ukraine. And so they may not have, but they also raised some questions and said that there is need for more information about what the mission is going to do in Haiti.
Yeah, but do you know that Gabon, which recently held a coup, supported Kenyans' bid to deploy police to Haiti? But the Kenyans, people were asking, how? These guys were like, we don't want foreign intervention. But they voted yes for Kenya to go there. And remember, then they also had something against France, and France were the former colonies of Haiti.
Yes.
So, of course, that's how geopolitics is playing. So let's also debunk this. After that, Biden was the first one to react and thanked William Ruto for this, William Ruto message. And in the midst of this, amidst this mission, Kenya seems to be quoting US more. And that's why people are asking more questions. Are we reading too much?
I don't think Kenyans are reading too much into this. I think it is a legitimate question to really ask. Why is America not sending its own soldiers, its own police?
No, then they are neighbors.
Number one, America has the best equipment. They have the best trained police officers and the military. Another thing, it is in their geopolitical area. They're just a bit closer by, and they have better organization. So if there was anybody who was supposed to be there, was America. But remember also, even Canada was approached, and Canada refused. They refused. They said they do not believe that they are the best fit for this match, even though they have the same language. They would speak French there. Kenyans, remember, we are going into an area where the language is going to be the first challenge.
The first challenge you're going to have there is the language. We'll have to look at that. But if you listen to the soundbite I just played from the start, there was a foreign policy expert based in, I think, Florida, saying that US are the ones supplying guns in Haiti because Haiti do not have any company having guns. So where are these guns?
Actually, America, as you asked, I think we are doing this one for America. We are not doing it for ourselves. America is the biggest supplier of guns. The guns that are killing people in Haiti come from the US. And also you find that the US is involved in the politics of Haiti, in the local politics of Haiti. So the biggest destabilizing factor in Haiti is the US itself. And it would have been better if they went there actually and cleaned their own mess.
The last time they were there for some 20 years and they left a mess. I think that's what I was actually reading. They have also been there.
Yes.
And they left a mess.
They left, actually, you can call it a mess, but they got defeated. They were not able to achieve the very objectives that took them to Haiti. And also many other countries have also been there.
Yes.
There have been a lot of other interventions in Haiti, and none of them have succeeded. So we must ask ourselves, why us? what is it that we are going to be able to do, or what skills or expertise do we possess that all these other countries have never had, that is going to make the Kenyan mission in Haiti successful, where others have failed.
What is the degree of language becoming a big challenge? The degree of language barrier?
The language barrier is a big challenge because language is the mode of communication. That is the way of communication. If you cannot communicate with the people, then it is not very easy even to understand each other. The Haitians speak Creole. And
Creole is a language?
Yes, is some form of English.
Okay.
Yeah?
It's a blend of
the equivalent of our Sheng here.
Okay.
And they also speak French.
Okay.
None of our police officers speak French,
or
even speak Creole. So you find when they get there, most probably they'll be using in translators and interpreters. But you find that one is, in most missions, it is not effective. It is not effective because number one, you rely on people you do not even know. So you sometimes, somebody would say something and somebody fails to translate it in a way that you understand it. So there's going to be misunderstanding. Before you gel and begin to understand, okay, what is this Kenyan saying? Even on our own accent, it's going to be a big challenge. You know, it's going to be a big challenge. So I think the police are going to find it very difficult dealing with the local population because they will not understand each other. And they also don't know the culture.
You've worked in peacekeeping missions, you say non-violent, but of course the one denominator here is you got into another country, you worked in another country. So when you get in there, even if you are with guns, where do you start? Don't you start integrating the community, or when you get there, it's what you started at? What's the starting point?
The starting point actually should be understanding the local community, because there are several dynamics at the local, the regional, at the national, and those dynamics differ from one place to another. So you need to understand the dynamics of the area, the particular area where you will be assigned. And once you understand that one, you need to understand the issues. What are the issues? There are some issues which will play in one area and they may not play in another area. So you need to understand those issues as well. Then you also need to understand like who are likely to be our partners. Yeah? You know, because there are people who will definitely shy away from you, who are likely to be our partners. But the issue of language then comes to bear. Yeah? Because your translators may also have their own interests. We had this problem in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka was basically an ethnic war between the majority Sinhalese and the minority Tamils. Anytime you had a Tamil translator, sometimes you would not even be welcome in certain Sinhalese areas. So you have very delicate balancing to be able to do. So I think
you're trying to say when you have the translator in the middle, the translator might be taking side.
That is one, might be telling you actually what they want you to do, not really what you're being told. Yes, so that is one. You see, so and that one can make things really difficult, because if that becomes the case, then people begin to perceive you to be taking side either with one of the protagonists, and that becomes a challenge. So your neutrality or your impartiality, impartiality is put to question.
And that when there is that disconnect, then the whole mission turns.
Then the whole mission turns something different.
Haiti president was killed in 2021.
Yes.
And after 2021, and when I think the information in public is that it was around these gangs, by these gangs, even though they had a reinforcement from Colombia.
Yes.
Then they had the prime minister. So the prime minister is an appointee of the president.
Yes.
So we are dealing with the prime minister. Yes. There is a question of the Prime Minister do not have solid legitimacy. Is the legitimacy question something that Kenyan government needed to look into, even as we get to Haiti?
It's a big question, because the person who is supposed to be inviting is the government. And when the government invites you, the government was elected by the people. The people voted for the late president, not the prime minister.
Yes.
So it is the late president who had a direct mandate from the people. Yeah? And so he was the legitimate leader of the people. The current prime minister is an appointee of the late president and does not have the same legitimacy that the former president the late president would have had. So the question of legitimacy is a big question.
But someone asked a question. Why are we questioning the legitimacy of the prime minister? Because the people that killed the president, if they also didn't want the prime minister, they would have also killed the prime minister. So maybe they side with the prime minister, or what do you think?
That could be true.
But if they side with the prime minister, then prime minister would not have called for reinforcement.
That is the intricacy. Now you ask yourself, this prime minister, he, if at all, he is a person who is who lacks legitimacy, then they would have killed him. But maybe it would have been very difficult even to kill those two leaders if they were not together. And I think maybe they thought the president was the biggest impediment to achieving their whatever their goals are, their objectives are. And so they eliminated him. They also knew that actually this is the person who has been elected by the people. So he is the person who carries the mandate of the people. The prime minister is just an appointee. And maybe they know that actually they have a way of dealing with the prime minister, which they may not have had with the president.
So,
but you must also remember that the issue of gangs that killed the prime minister were part of an imported problem. So they just brought these people to bring a reinforcement, and they were able to eliminate the president.
So now that we are having a legitimacy, when you work in a foreign country and in a peacekeeping mission, so who is supposed to protect you? I do think even yourself, you're supposed to get some protection. Who is going to protect our soldiers?
Actually, our soldiers are supposed to be protected by the people. If the people need you, if they need our services, they need our help, it is the same people who are supposed to protect you.
By giving you intelligence?
By giving you both the information, by accepting you, and also accommodating you, and providing you with the information that you need to be able to do your work. But you find that currently we are not sure if the people are with us, because the people, the prime minister was a presidential appointee. If the president, the late president, God rest his soul in peace, if he was the one who had invited us, then I think we would have said that we have the people's support. We would have the people's support. But that is not to say that the people of Haiti may not support us.
There is one that I know this is directly cutting across what you worked on, civil society organizations. But I need to be very honest, I've also worked in the UN, and there is one thing I realize, that there are a lot of papers that are coming from civil society organizations on such missions, and there is normally the same story on any mission. Even locally here, when there is some operation somewhere, it's just the same human violation stories of rape, what. Now, the civil society organizations in Haiti are warning us that we don't need you. Your soldiers have already been the human rights aspect. Does that supersede the need for peace there? Or are these civil society organizations just guns for hire to stop this mission?
I think the respect for human rights and the need for security are not separate. They go hand in hand. The fact that we need support, we need to restore our law and order in our country does not mean that we can do it in complete disregard of the human rights of the people. The people have their rights, and their rights is what we are actually going there to help protect.
To protect, yes.
And these violations of sexual and gender-based violence, actually rape, especially gang rape and all those things, are the things that we are supposed to help reduce or eliminate. So these things go hand in hand. And our own police is also another place to start. They are our own record as a country, and the police, in particular as a service, have not had, very good record, or any record.
We will not export those records.
It is difficult to say we will not export, because we go there, and when there is lawlessness, there is a lot of room for corrupt practices, actually to rear their ugly head. And if we just take the same police with the same mentality.
Someone was asking, are we going to fight the gangs, or we are going to restore peace and order? The former military man was saying, there is no peace to be maintained, to be restored. So are we going to fight the gangs, or we are going to restore peace?
Peacekeeping actually connotes that there is some peace to be kept. In Haiti currently, we don't have peace, we have chaos, we have commotion, and we have something close to a war.
So we'll go there with guns on our shoulders?
We will have to go there with guns on our shoulders. It is important to understand also that the Kenyan police, unless the mission is organized in such a way that they are given particular roles, like they are saying they are going to provide security to national installations, in national infrastructure, like major highways, government offices, the airports and the seaports. It is going to be very difficult for a Kenyan police to operate on Haitian streets. The gangs obey no laws. They have nothing to lose. And they are motivated by the fact that they are fighting a conventional force. Trained, well armed, while themselves, they are just people who have learned, everything on the streets. So they obey no laws. So Kenyan police must expect that on the streets of Haiti, they will be ambushed. On the streets, they will be ambushed. Wherever they live, they will be attacked. And those guys, here the police will have to say, like, if you want to shoot, you have to look to see that there are no civilians around. Them, they have nothing to lose. They will just lump together the police and the civilians and whoever is there. If they want to shoot you, they just spray you with bullets. Unlike the police, who will need to take care. So the police, and their gang leaders have said that the police are going to be a legitimate target for them. So we are going there where we are going to be targeted.
But now let me get, what is the difference between a gang and the Al-Shabaab? Because from the whole discussion about Haiti, I've just been hearing these people have guns. So why are you calling them? They have guns. Why are we calling them gangs? Why are they not like Al-Shabaab? Is a militia. These people have a militia.
Yeah, they're equal to a militia, but as a gang, gangs don't obey. They only have a structure of leadership. But even the leadership has no great control over the individual members of the gangs. And the gangs are very loose. They are not, you can say that they are 20, 30, no. You can meet 5 of them, and they're still a gang. But you find that it is these different formations that actually coalesce, and then you can call them a gang. But they are very dangerous because they have no structures. They obey no law. They are only there to inflict maximum harm. And in this case, they are really out to get maximum, maximum publicity. Well, the more they need, the more they will feel like we have made it. We are tough.
We really think, and for me, I'm so passionate about foreign policy, that we are going to elevate our stage as a country with this. But Kenyans seem not to buy this. But this is also one thing Kenya will get its accolade if we succeed, or just by the act of going, we've already boosted our visibility. But Kenya seems not to be buying this.
Actually, at what cost? Because every country needs to boost their international, stature, their stature in the world stage, and I think our President Ruto is really trying to project an image of Pan-Africanist, and actually the new boy in the block, the new kid in the block
for America.
Yeah, for America. So what we are doing, the position that we are doing, actually, we are looking for, is not for us. It is actually for the president and his relationship with the West, mostly with the Americans. It is not about how Kenya is going to have an improved position in the world stage. But you also have to realize that what if the mission fails? Because the chances of the mission failing,
in the scale of 10,
the chances of the mission failing,
it's 5.
Maybe 3.
Failing is 3.
Succeeding.
Succeeding is 3.
It's about 3.
Now, the beauty of it is we don't know how we will define its success. Because we don't know what we are going to do. So even how we will evaluate and say we've succeeded. Government can feed us with data, in very raw information about how these have done. And Kenyans be told it has succeeded. I saw CNN interviewing the leader of one of the gangs. And in that interview, that leader of one of the gangs was saying that we will not want anyone to cross our paths. Should we really also look at a situation where are soldiers going to outlaw the gangs, the gangs, or is there a way we can still bring them on board and maybe just restore peace, reform?
We can actually. It depends on the mandate we are given. In peacekeeping, you can actually do also that one. And say, sometimes you find that this gang and this gang, or this group and this group, maybe have something in common that actually you can use to bring them together. In the Haitian case, I'm not sure if that is the case. I'm not very sure that is the case, that you can be able to bring them. But that is one thing that the Kenyan police may explore. But it is going to be difficult because the first thing is, before arrival in Haiti, we have been told we are unwanted. So we are going there with credibility deficiency. So we do not have the support of a wider majority of the Haitian people. And I think because we are going to deploy somewhere sometimes in January, if this thing if we do not win fast, then we are also going to be seen to be losers and to be seen as part of the people who have not helped Haiti.
US has given us 14 billion military aid. The same they also give to Egypt. And I think in Africa then you've also benefited from that. So there are also personal fortunes coming our way, even though that is debatable in terms of what we are going to get. But I also tend to see that we are too many pessimists. Maybe we should give them the benefit of doubt and see how it plays out.
Actually, the money, I think, is a key motivating factor for our government to send our troops to Haiti. The money. The other thing is actually we are doing it for Ruto.
Why we are going to Haiti? We are going to Haiti for Ruto.
We are going to Haiti, in my opinion, for 2 reasons. Number 1, for the love of money. Number 2, for President Ruto. President Ruto is so determined to earn himself as a place at the high table of the international politics, to an extent that he's even willing to sacrifice our own security forces, especially the police, by taking them to Haiti. The money involved in that, the 100 million
the 14 billion. Yes.
It's about 14 billion. It's 100 million
US dollars.
About 14 billion. The 14 billion is a key motivating factor. And I think our government is known, the appetite they have for money. Yeah? Even the police, you can take this one to the bank. The police are going to complain about their money having been stolen by the senior officers in the police. Yeah? You know, even locally here, when the police were given assignment, like there was one in Kapedo, go and ask those police officers. The government would release even, say, 3,000 shillings per police per day, then the police would end up getting 1,000. The same is very, very likely to happen to our police in Haiti, unless they are paid directly by another body. Maybe by the UN.
Then that is what should happen.
And that is what should happen. Otherwise, the police are going to come back demoralized. They are going to come back, many of them are going to come back in coffins, and others with severe injuries, and nobody is going to take care of them post their mission in Haiti. So the money and the in trying to improve and increase, raise the profile of our president are the key motivating
It's
factors.
raising the profile of the president, not the profile of the country.
Not the country. If it was the country, then the whole country should have been involved in terms of consultations, You needed to consult with the people of Kenya whether this is really something that we need to do. And is it the right time? And how then we would be able to know the things like what kind of preparations have been made by the police to send our men and women to Haiti. The other thing is, who is going to equip these people? Have they been equipped? Have they been trained? What about the language? What about the culture? What has been done in terms of preparation? Just preparation before they go. Then how are they going to live there? You see?
Someone talking about mobility. Are they going to use there are no trains there. They're going to use Land Cruisers.
I think most likely they are going to use these armored personnel carriers, to move around. And that one is also going to keep them away from the people, you must remember. Yeah, because you'll be living in some kind of an ivory tower. But if you come to the streets and you want to speak to the people and develop a relationship with the people so that you understand, who you can bring on board as your allies, then you need to be on the streets. And on the streets, that is where danger is.
Article 240 of National Security Council says we should actually send military. It did not envision a situation where we are even sending police. But that is our constitution. But yes. Police Service Act says it may. So we've just used that one clause, that one word, it may. We've just used the word may to send the police, because someone was saying, when we send military, their fortunes are huge, but police, we can maybe tone down what we give them. All those are speculations. I believe, let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, let's wait and see. But I'm not very optimistic about our mission to Haiti. Number one, the reason for going to Haiti is not clear. Why we are going to Haiti? Actually, if we were to support Haiti as we were asked, if Haiti had asked us for support, maybe we would have given another different support in terms of providing other forms, maybe helping with the training of their police.
And we train them here. They come, we train them here, they go back and do their business.
We could train them here, or we could train them even in a neighboring country, then they deploy there. Rather than taking the police, our own police, who I'm not sure if they have the kind of training. Maybe kwa ukijeli too, maybe they should have sent, what do you call them? The flying squad.
The flying squad team.
And the Reke team.
Yeah, you see, but maybe let's wait. There are so many questions. Now, the worst part of it is that these questions will never be answered, and they will go, police will be taken to Haiti. The most important thing that we need is accountability. Not even of the money, accountability of the soldiers. How many have gone? How many are coming back? how many we are reinforcing. You know, there is also reinforcement, because if you take 110 are killed first week, you are supposed to top up.
Yes.
So I think one thing that for me, where I'm seated, I would really want, if government wants to win the trust of Kenyans back, is accountability from day one. Waziri is going, Kindiki is going, he should shed more light. From now, we should be told, these fellows, I know this cannot be led in public where they are training, because gangs are also maybe spying them. But then we should know that, okay, the fellows we are taking, we have trained them into these areas, this is what they're going to do, we are taking 1,000, they've done this and this has happened, and we see what can be.
It is going to be difficult actually even to know that one, because for security reasons, and also for face saving, because if they go there and they kill 100, most likely we're going to report 10.
No, but families will know.
Even in El Ade in Somali, the government records are way below what we know. We know that more than 200 people were killed in Somali in El Ade attack. But what did the government say? The government was just talking about, a few soldiers who died. And I don't think so the Haitian case is going to be different. But as you say, they're also taking advantage of the fact that there is no firm legal
government.
No, there's no firm legal or firm law that actually says we have to get parliamentary approval to send our police there. There's a need there. That one is provided for when it is the military.
Yes.
But when it is the police, we have never come to such a situation. I know we have sent our police to go and train other people in other areas because there is no law that has been barring us from doing that one. But under the new constitution, the police, we did not envisage a situation where the police would be, would have to be taken there, so that we have a legal provision for it.
Thank you. I want us to wrap it there. Thank you very much for accepting first to come and share more light. And I think on geopolitics, I'll be looking for you because you've worked so much on that front. And I'm so grateful that this conversation is going on in the comment section. We want to read your comment section. What do you think? And really, if you're in Haiti, and you have my WhatsApp number, or you've ever gone there, you want to give us a testimony what exactly it will look like. We really want to have a feel. You can get to our WhatsApp and show us, and even tell us in comment section, what do you know about Haiti? If you've ever been there, when was your last time there? And we have this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.